सो गाइस, दिवाली इज अप्रोचिंग एंड मैंने सोचा कि चलो एक छोटा सा वीडियो बना देते हैं. सो हियर आई एम. आई हैव दिस weird situation with Diwali. I like it and I also dread it. To explain, I just love the festivity of it. I love everything about gazing at the sky at night and seeing hundreds of fireworks explode in the sky. But on the other hand, the insane amounts of smoke and noise make me feel like teleporting to the Himalayas and meditating there. You know, as they say, no pain, no gain. I think the only time I had really enjoyed Diwali was when I was in 9th or 10th class. I don't exactly remember, but I was celebrating at my friend's house. Normally, I don't deal with explosives and stay far away from them. But this time, me and my friend decided to wear noise cancelling headphones and join in the fun. Well, we had a blast. The noises were reduced by like 30%, which wasn't much, but it made a lot of difference, and to my surprise, I actually lit crackers until late at night along with my friend and her family. Oh, talking about explosives, let me tell you a story. This was a couple of years ago, and me and my parents and brother were living in a nice apartment at the time. There used to live two kids beside our flat. They were both older than us and they were extremely rich. I have no idea what their father did, but they had like a wall-sized TV in their bedroom and two more TVs in the living room and the dining room and so many cool gadgets lying all around their house. And yes, their home was the coolest out of everyone's I had ever seen. Except maybe my friend. Let's call her Amy. Amy's house was literal heaven, so no one can really compare to that anyway. But coming back to the story, alright. So these two kids, right? Their father, let's call him Uncle H. He always had a smile on his face and all. But that smile, even though it seemed kind, sometimes it just felt like he was mocking us. It was obvious that every time he saw my parents or other adults in the apartment, he would show off the newest watch that he had bought, or the latest car model he was going to buy, or some new property he was thinking of buying. It was like he was waiting to brag about this or that. And don't even talk to me about his wife. She would talk for hours with my mom, except she would be the only one speaking, talking about the new ceramic ware that she bought or the trendiest saris that she bought. Disclaimer guys, I'm not hating on them because they're rich, but because they had absolutely no social morals, or whatever you want to call it. It was always about them and them only, and anything we had to say wasn't good enough for them. On top of that, Uncle H also kind of acted very over-the-top courageous. Like, you must have seen lots of people like that. For example, one time, our whole apartment went on a picnic trip. We went in different vans, and I was in the van that he was driving in. He was already driving really fast, but when me and the others and other adults started telling him to go a bit slower as the others were still far behind, he scoffed and started driving even faster to show that he was a pro driver, which was not the point. He drove so fast that when a huge speed breaker came, even though he slowed down, the van jumped so high that when it landed, everything inside the van shook as if it was about to break. I guess we should be lucky we got off with just that. So for Diwali that year, since he liked to show off, obviously he bought the largest share of crackers for his family. He used to bring the most exotic firecrackers from the market, and we would all just stare at them in awe as they lit every cracker up. Every year, they would always be the ones to start celebrating early and end it late. And of course, he would also act very reckless. If anyone wasn't sure or was somewhat hesitating to light anything up, he would scold them and then he would do it himself. He would also shame people if they chose to not fire crackers. He handled the crackers very carelessly, like he would bring the rockets close to his face when he was lighting them, or do some experiments combining this and that, and sometimes even encouraged his kids to be reckless and would tell them to light something really dangerous. But for some reason, no matter how reckless he acted, he never got hurt, and for that, everyone was impressed. Eventually, people just didn't mind it anymore and understood that that's how he was. An extremely reckless and lucky person. That's how we saw him as. Unfortunately though, that's not how it went that year. That year, he had bought some really cool explosives that exploded with like twice the size of the normal ones. They said some name, but I don't remember it right now. And it was the talk of the town. When everyone had finished lighting their own crackers, Uncle H brought his explosives and announced to everyone that it was going to be epic. Everyone was looking forward to how big those explosives would be. And of course, I don't like explosives, so I'm somewhere far away, but I was still watching. I was sitting on the stairs at the time, but I could see everything from above. I probably had the clearest view. So Uncle H goes on and places the explosives on the floor, right? Even the side apartments people came in to see what would happen. Everyone is standing far away, and after he places the explosives on the floor, he lights them. And the thing is, sometimes the fire kind of disappears, so you don't know if the crackers are going to explode or not, right? I bet this has happened to lots of people. And this time, the same thing happened. When he lit the fire burned till it reached the tip of the explosives, and then it stopped and faded away. So he tried blowing and see if the fire flared again, but it didn't work. So he started lighting the fire again. And this time as well, the fire faded away. This all happened in the span of like 5 to 10 seconds, guys. He probably should have waited before he lit another fire, but he was very impatient to show off. The rest of the people were telling him to come back for like 2 seconds and see that maybe the explosives would go off if he waited a bit. But instead, just like every time, he laughed and said, "Hey, just 1 minute guys, I know how to operate these explosives. I bought them. I know what I'm doing," he shouted, and he was about to turn around, right? And in a split second, the explosives went off while his hand was still there trying to light them. The screaming from him was so loud that we could hear him over the explosions that continued going on. It was a mess. People ran to grab him back, others were trying to get the water from the watchman's house. He was screaming like his life depended on it, and it probably did, and I was here panicking. When everything was over, he was rushed to the hospital. His arm till his elbow had been burnt really badly. The skin was peeled off, the blood was everywhere, and yeah, it was horrifying. The next year, he wasn't very involved during Diwali and would sulk in a corner as his arm still had not healed completely, and the nurse would flare up now and again. I don't know what he did the next year because we moved away from that house, but I still remember that scene clearly because it was just a horrifying scene to watch. And I thought that would make for a good story for Diwali this year. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and yes, thanks for watching.